Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I actually have a bit of an exciting update for you guys. To anyone who has been on the whole journey with us through Mini, like if you guys have listened from the beginning, or even if you listened from like when I had my co-host Jordy with me and it was like a totally different podcast, basically, we didn't have Mini Scroll yet, you will remember the journey of recording the podcast at my house to then getting this office. We tried so many different setups. Like this is a curtain because behind this wall or behind this curtain is a wall that is like brick and it has, I don't know, it's like teal. It's like a dark teal. It's so ugly. There are some videos on YouTube. It actually looks fine in person, but like on camera, it looks really bad. There are some videos on YouTube of me recording the podcast with that. And then people would be like, can you please cover up that disgusting splotchy wall? And I'm like, okay. And then I tried recording it over there with some sheer curtains. Anyways, we landed on this setup and it's like done us well. But the office is so small that whenever we need to record, we have to set everything back up every single day, right? We have to set it back up and then we have to take it all down so that we can work in the office at the desks. And like when I need to record, the girls have to leave and vice versa. So it's been such a startup vibe, but I'm so excited because I've been like trying to figure out what our next move is in terms of space. We absolutely need more space for 2026. And obviously being a podcast network now, we need to be able to have the capability to have more people in this office. Like more guests can come on our podcast at once, right? And all of that. So anyways, that was a big priority for me the last couple of months. And I'm really excited because we actually just signed our new office space. So we're going to be moving, technically November 1st is like when we get possession. It's still at the Commons. So it's still in our same location that we've been at for over 5 years now. It's actually wild that I've been at this office for 5 years. But yeah, so it's still with the Commons, but it's a bigger space. It has a window. I wish we got possession now so I could do a TikTok using Sabrina Carpenter's house tour with the new office because I feel like that would just really hit. And by the time we get it, I think the moment will be over. But it has a huge window that looks outside, and this office has no windows. So that's why it's like a Harry Potter closet because it's so dark. So I've done what I could to this office to make it the best that I could for the girls and I, but I'm so excited. So it'll have been 18 months in this office, and yeah, we're moving on up. We're getting a bigger space. It's not that much bigger, but it's like bigger enough. Does that make sense? Like that grammar feels off. You know what I mean? And I'm also happy that I don't have to disrupt our routine that much because we were looking at spaces all over, which obviously would be quite disruptive to like the established commute and, you know, where we get our lunches, where we go to the gym, things like that around the office. So we're staying put and I'm so happy. I love the Commons. They've been so good to us in these 5 years and I'm so happy we get to stay with them and we get a bigger space and we get a window and yeah, really exciting. So there will be some changes to like what the podcast looks like starting in November and hopefully we don't go through as many evolutions of like trying to figure it out. But we'll see. Okay, as always, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. I've noticed a lot of you guys have started Spotify star rating us again, so please, it helps us so much. I am still trying to get to our target of 1,000. I was like pushing you guys to get us there, and then I kind of fell off because then I started pushing you guys to subscribe to us on YouTube to get to 10,000 on YouTube. So I fell off on the Spotify star ratings, but I'm still trying to get to 1,000. We're almost there. Like, we're getting there. Okay, before I get into the stories for today, I think I do have to acknowledge that easily the biggest story on the internet today is that somebody shot Charlie Kirk at a university campus event in Utah and he died. He was a very prominent figure in internet culture. Obviously, I don't support him, but he was undeniably a massive influencer. And at the time of recording, that is all the information that we have so far. It's being extensively covered by mainstream news, so I'm keeping up with the story. I'll keep you guys posted on any like major updates on it. I'm sure all of you guys are keeping up with it to an extent as well, because this is a really big moment in internet culture news. It is absolutely the biggest story on the internet today. Okay, the first story that I have for you guys is that Taylor Frankie Paul has been announced as the new Bachelorette. Now, normally I would probably never cover The Bachelorette. I mean, I guess I've covered it in relation to Gabby Windey, and that's probably it. But this is really relevant to us because Taylor Frankie Paul is a TikTok star, and it's also really relevant to me because Taylor Frankie Paul is also the star of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I love reality TV, and I love that show. So yes, Taylor was originally a really big TikTok star. She's kind of the originator of Mom Talk, which was the TikTok group of Mormon women who went really viral a few years ago. They would film content all together, like dancing and having fun, and they were so beautiful and skinny and young, and everyone was like, how are these moms? Like, how is this mom talk? And then they really shot to fame when they became embroiled in a scandal after Taylor herself went on TikTok Live and admitted that she and a bunch of the other Mom Talk members were involved in soft swinging together, where they would essentially hook up with each other's husbands. You guys can read all about like how that came out. It wasn't just her like going rogue. I mean, it was definitely a bit rogue, but like, it was because it was in response to, I think there was a couple that was like about to get divorced, and online people were questioning like, are these people all still close? And there were feelings getting involved. Like one of the husbands professed their love to Taylor, and it all just kind of like fell apart. And so after this drama, then Hulu was like, we need to make a show about this, and they cast Taylor as the lead of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and they actually didn't get the original swingers to join, like aside from Taylor, to join the first season because everybody hated Taylor. Like all those women that were involved in it hated Taylor because she exposed their secret to the whole world, which honestly is like fair enough that they hated her for that. And then season 2, Miranda, who was part of the original swinging scandal, she did join the cast. So yes, Taylor has now shot to even more fame because the show is so successful. A huge part of Taylor's storyline on the show has been her turbulent relationship with her boyfriend Dakota, who she did recently have a baby with, but basically refuses to marry him because he's the worst. And they've been broken up, I guess, like on and off for a while now. It's never fully clear if they're together or not. But Taylor actually recently teased that she was in a new relationship on her socials. So this announcement of her being the new Bachelorette is kind of a huge shock to fans. Now, fans of the Bachelor franchise are saying that this feels like it marks a pretty clear like new chapter for the show and for the franchise, I guess, which has been struggling to maintain relevancy. I've seen a lot of people who are fans of the show say like, finally, they are not trying to keep up the facade that people are on this for love, and they're gonna start casting like really famous people if they'll accept it, and it will just kind of be like this reality show that everybody knows, we're just here for clout. I mean, I absolutely think this is a great idea. I do not watch any of The Bachelors, but I'm gonna watch this season because Taylor Frankie Paul has such a different type of reach. She's very relevant right now. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of crossover in the audiences for sure between her show and The Bachelor, but regardless, I think especially with the TikTok connection, it's going to open up a whole new kind of audience for the franchise, and I will definitely be watching. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is there is a new Gen Alpha skincare line that has just launched by a big YouTuber, but it has sparked some concern online, and I will get into why. So 15-year-old influencer Salish, I think it's Salish or I think it's Salish. I watched her say her name like 5 times. I think it's Salish. Has launched her own skincare brand targeted at Gen Alpha. The brand is called Sincerely Yours and was co-launched with her father, Jordan Matter, and will be run by skincare industry veteran Julia Strauss, who used to be the CEO of Tula. Jordan is also an influencer, like her dad is also an influencer kind of. He's like a dad YouTuber who has built a following of over 32 million, mostly from posting content of his kids, but more on that in a minute. So more than 60,000 teens were involved in creating the brand via a private text message platform sourced by Salish's audience. So the brand launched on September 6th. They had this huge event, and there were like thousands and thousands of young kids with their parents there waiting to meet her, to see her at this mall. It was actually like mayhem. And they actually went straight into Sephora, which is really interesting because for influencer brands, typically they go direct to consumer to begin with. Now, it's not new that young people, especially young girls, want to use like makeup and skincare, That has always been the case. And especially with social media replacing like tween magazines, the role models that they're following and the content that they're consuming, as opposed to like a tween magazine, which is telling you in theory, like serving you like more age appropriate stuff. You're watching a Get Ready With Me from like a 25-year-old influencer who lives in New York City that you love, and you're like 11 years old, and she's using all of this expensive product and product that is probably not even necessarily age appropriate for her skin at the age of 25, but she's using it anyways, worried about anti-aging. And so you're trying to buy this stuff. So like the idea of launching a Gen Alpha skincare brand that is like made for younger skin, I think actually is a good idea. And I think it makes sense for it to be in Sephora because of course we know the Sephora teen or tween epidemic where all the tweens are going to Sephora, like swatching everything and just like, it's fun. I get it. Like I used to love to go to the mall when I was young too, okay? Like that's like part of the experience. I get why they launched into Sephora. However, what has been interesting is the brand's launch, especially into Sephora. Like if this was not a Sephora launch, I don't think that this would have reached other audiences, okay? So this brand's launch, especially into Sephora, has put quite a spotlight on this father-daughter influencer duo. And it's opened them up to a much older and different type of audience, an audience that is interested in business news, an audience that is interested in branding and marketing, an audience that is interested in the beauty industry. It's opened her up well beyond the scope of like Gen Alpha and young Gen Z interested in her skincare brand. And what that has brought with it is a lot of concern. Because if you look at the content that is on both of their channels, but especially her dad's channel. Her dad has 32 million followers, okay? She herself, as the influencer, has like 3 million followers, I think, on YouTube. Still huge, but her dad has 32 million. His channel is all about his daughter, and it is like Mr. Beast style, like weird clickbaity challenge videos about his daughter. There's a lot of splits involved, like his young daughter doing the splits. Weird clickbaity videos about like her dating life. It's creepy and it's interesting because there are a lot of people in these industries now, like business industries, marketing industries, who are covering this on TikTok, talking about this on TikTok. Their eyes have been opened to the world of essentially like parent vloggers.
Is anybody else so creeped out by this Sincerely Yours brand that just launched at Sephora for Gen Alphas? I'm not creeped out for the reasons that you think, but I just looked at the content that is on the father's YouTube channel because this brand is obviously going to do really well at Sephora with Gen Alpha, and I think it's creepy.
Last week I saw the big Sephora news. No, not the Rhode launch, but rather a 15-year-old influencer whose name I had never heard was launching a beauty line with Sephora. All of his content is about her. So it's like, I'll put some here. My daughter has a crush on this guy. I dug very deep into YouTube, into Reddit. As far as I can tell, Salish's target audience is like 7 years old. Why are you launching a skincare company aimed at 7-year-olds?
And for me, looking at it from an internet culture perspective, what I find the most interesting is how niche these conversations still are. Because we talk about this all the time. If you are entrenched in internet culture, you are across the like kid influencers, parent vloggers, like all family vloggers, like you are across those conversations. They happen a lot in this specific bubble, but it's really highlighting to me that a lot of these, especially these creators that I follow, like a lot of creators that I follow for like branding, marketing advice, it's fascinating to watch them discover this and to realize how big of a problem this is. I mean, even a personal anecdote, one of my best friends, who knows obviously that I do this for a living, when the Piper Raquel documentary came out on Netflix, she messaged me and she was like, oh my God, have you heard of this girl? Have you seen this? Did you know that this was happening? And I was like, yeah, girl, I have like multiple podcast episodes about things just like that. Like that is a huge problem in specifically like my industry. It's like something that we cover all the time. And I found it so interesting. She's literally like one of my best friends. And, you know, we spent so much time together and she just still was completely unaware really of how big of a problem this is. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, I hope this brings you some joy. Because it's so 2015. It feels so like nostalgic, okay? Jeffree Star has called out James Charles and Nikkie Tutorials in some OG beauty community drama. So this is all related to Louis Vuitton's new beauty brand launch, La Beauté, with Pat McGrath at the helm as creative director. So this is a description from the Business of Fashion, quote, "On Tuesday, fashion house Louis Vuitton unveiled its modern debut makeup collection, La Beauté Louis Vuitton, designed in partnership with the famed makeup artist Pat McGrath, originally teased in March. The range includes 55 lipsticks and 10 lip balms at $160 each, and 8 eyeshadow palettes priced at $250 each." Okay, so the pricing is steep. Obviously, that was a huge, topic of conversation in the industry when it was first announced. Now, a bunch of influencers got PR as usual, and they were doing reviews. But two who didn't get PR were James Charles and Nikkie Tutorials, both of whom didn't particularly like the collections, or at least rate the collections. So they both essentially said it wasn't worth the price. James said if you can afford the makeup and you want to try it, to get a lipstick instead of the eyeshadows. And Nikkie said she did seem to like one of the palettes, but not the one that she tried on TikTok. She said the pigmentation was just not there. And then interestingly, I didn't know about this, so this was interesting tea for me to learn. Nikkie also noted that she probably didn't get PR because she said that she and Pat McGrath have low-key beef. She didn't really, she didn't word it like that, but that's what she said, okay? So she's never said exactly what happened, but several years ago, Nikkie gave one of Pat McGrath's makeup products a not so great review. And then she said in a video after that, a year or so after that, that a makeup artist, a famous makeup artist, snubbed her in person recently at an event. And she heavily implied that it was Pat McGrath. So there were Reddit posts about this. Obviously, there were articles about this, about how Pat McGrath and Nikkie Tutorials have low-key beef. It's unconfirmed, obviously, but kind of. So then in this video, she's yeah, when I found out that it was Pat McGrath, I figured that's why I didn't get PR. So anyways, then Jeffree Star did a review and he gave a positive review about the makeup, but it was sent to him in PR. So that made viewers and audiences question his review and think that he was lying. A lot of beauty influencers who got it in PR were saying good things about it, okay? So people immediately thought because people have more trust in negative reviews than they do in positive reviews. That is a known thing among psychology, but also, especially if you think about the beauty influencer industry, how burned we were from OG beauty YouTube. So of course, when we hear that something's given to someone in PR or there's a brand collab, you immediately question the validity of their review. So his positive review off the back of Nikkie and James's negative reviews caused people to be what the fuck? This is obviously a fake review. We don't trust you. And apparently he says he got a ton of backlash for that he woke up to thousands of comments telling him that basically he's a liar. So he went on this rant, okay, where he was going off. Honestly, it's OG Jeffree style stuff, going off on his audience, basically saying he doesn't need to shill for a free lipstick. He was I bought a $250,000 Louis Vuitton pool table. You think I care about a free lipstick? And then he basically called James and Nikkie out in his response.
Okay, so the topic of discussion is, of course, the $250 eyeshadow palette. Now, I guess Nikkie Tutorials and James Charles reviewed the makeup. They bought it themselves. They were not on the PR list. So is it giving bitter Betty, or why am I involved? I actually respect Nikkie Tutorials, but if you hear her in the intro, she said that she reviewed a different Louis palette for her YouTube channel, and that one was totally fine with pigment. Even though it was boring according to her, it had pigment. So she chose to use the lightest color story for TikTok, and now everyone's coming at me like I'm a liar. I woke up to all these comments. Well, Nikkie and James used it and it didn't, and they didn't have the same experience as you. We're still listening to what James Charles has to say? Someone that admitted to texting minors and then deleted the apology video? You guys are believing someone that likes children. I think we have a bigger issue at hand. I think I'm thoroughly offended that anyone would think I would lie about something to get a free lipstick. No offense, but huh?
Nikkie and James have not engaged with this as far as I've seen at the time of recording. I don't think they will. I think most people in the beauty industry, beauty influencer industry, steer clear of Jeffree, especially when he's kind of inflamed like that. But yes, it's very nostalgic for me. It's actually the kind of drama that I needed to hear about today. Drama over influencer PR and reviews. That's the kind of shit that we need, okay? We need more of that. Less child influencers More of this. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Spotify star rate us. And I actually will be talking to you guys tomorrow for a Friday mini scroll. Bye.